Did you know that the United States invaded Canada in 1985? So, in this episode of Weird Borders, I'll be talking about one of the biggest changes in the shipping industry of the 21st century. So, after Columbus brought attention to the Americas in 1492, Europeans quickly became obsessed with finding new land and also figuring out a way to travel across the continent of North America. So they began looking for the Northwest Passage, which would be a passage that would connect the Pacific Ocean with the Atlantic Ocean and go through North America. But as much as they looked for this passage through a series of rivers in North America, they couldn't find anything that would connect the East Coast with the Atlantic Ocean. Many explorers initially tried to tackle this problem by starting from the West Coast and then moving east. And as you can see, the Colorado River connects to the Gulf of California, and this was one route that many explorers tried to start from. Others began their voyage from the Columbia River up near modern-day Washington. Interestingly enough, early explorers and cartographers like Nicholas Sanson had actually documented the United States and North America in a way that they thought the Gulf of California actually runs all the way up to Canada, which made California an island. People like Sir Francis Drake tried to confirm this theory, but they never could. So their map showed that California was actually an island and that the Hudson Bay connected through a strait all the way to the Pacific Ocean. And in this modern day map, you can see if you wanted to sail from the Hudson Bay to the Pacific Ocean, you would need to purchase a flying boat, which I don't see happening anytime soon. Unless you live in Ninjago. But wait, there's a bunch of water to the north of Canada. Why can't you just cross over there? Yeah, that's the Arctic Ocean, and that's almost always covered in ice, so no. The ice would get thinner in the summer, but it wasn't until 1906 when Norwegian explorer Roald Amundsen was actually able to sail through it. The waterway that runs through the Canadian archipelago in Alaska came to be known as the real Northwest Passage. However, the ice was so thick that you would still need an icebreaker ship like this one to go through it and pave a path for the cargo ship behind it to come. Now, this is a map of international water in which any country can use. And as you can see, the Northwest Passage isn't one of those. However, there are still internal waters such as the Strait of Malacca, which are so important to other nations that they still allow other nations' ships to pass through it. Another example of this would be the Danish Straits. These countries like Singapore, Malaysia, and Denmark have said that any country can pass through their waters, but Canada never did that for the Northwest Passage. In 1985, the U.S. disagreed with Canada's claim that it's internal waters and sent the Coast Guard over, which without permission from the Canadians. And this technically violated the sovereignty of Canada and could be considered as an invasion, actually, but that's a bit of a stretch because, this is just the Coast Guard. There used to be so much ice in the Arctic Ocean that you couldn't sail through even in the summer, but sadly, due to climate change, the Northwest Passage is now completely free during the summer. Canada still exercises their right as the only country to have true free access to the Northwest Passage and claim full sovereignty over it. However, recently they've been more lenient in letting other countries pass through the Northwest Passage as long as they follow some pollution regulation. Now, as the ice clears up, the Northwest Passage has quickly become one of the most important passages in the world, and more large cargo ships pass through it every year. So, thank you for listening to this episode of Weird Borders, and I'll be talking more about these in upcoming episodes.